The sky is falling for the Orlando Magic as they suffer a huge loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers the other night by 40 points. Today we're going to be talking about the state of the organization, the state of the franchise, as we also look ahead to tonight's game against the Golden State Warriors. Guys, welcome to Magic Digest. I'm your host, Patrick Previty. This is your one-stop shop for Orlando Magic basketball content here on YouTube, and we're trying to build an Orlando Magic basketball community here on the platform as well. 75% of you who are watching these videos regularly aren't subscribed, so join the 25%. As you guys all know, trying to get to 1,000 subs, hopefully by sometime in March. Okay, so I'm a little late on it, but this was such a huge loss. Needed some time to digest, no pun intended, and needed to really think about how I wanted to take this. Because the other day, I just came out with a video defending Coach Mosley, and I still believe he is not the problem, but there's been so much chatter, so much on Magic Twitter, so much on Magic forums across all socials talking about their disgust with the way that this team has been playing. And there's honestly so many different reasons for why this team is not performing at the level that we all were hoping they would be at for this season. One, injuries. One, because Mosley needs to kind of either take the reins more or back off and let these guys really work it out, like as far as we're talking offense or anything regarding that. And just the fact that this team is just not built correctly right now. Maybe there should have been a deal at the deadline. Maybe Weltman should have been able to make a move. Who would we have traded? When do we need to give up on some of the young guys? When do we need to invest our time into some of the young guys? And then what are we going to do with some of those aging stars who have been here for a handful of years, such as Wendell Carter Jr., Jonathan Isaac? What exactly is the plan for those guys going forward? Lots of questions, a lot of fair questions. Let's take a look at why the Orlando Magic lost this game by so much against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Look, this was start to finish a really, really poor performance. Now, when you take a look at the box score, it doesn't look as bad. We've seen others like this. Obviously, we only got two guys in double figures, but the main column that you should be looking at is the three-point shooting. And unfortunately, I feel like a broken record at this point. We're just going to have to continuously talk about this because 5 for 28 from 3 is really, really bad. 17.9%, and it's historically been bad this entire season. And unfortunately, our two main guys shot 2 of 10, Franz and Paolo, from the three-point range. And that is not going to cut it. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope actually didn't play so bad, but his entire signing has been a big swing and a miss. Now, look, I'll eat the crow. I'll say that I thought he was going to be way better than he is now. I was kind of also on the bandwagon of why not just go spend some money on Paul George. But my thing was like, if they end up making a move, as long as they're aggressive and they don't get it right, I can be okay. Like, as long as Weltman and company is aggressive and it doesn't impact our future way too much, I'm okay. I was also a little bit hesitant on spending so much money on Jalen Suggs, but I realized that was just going to be the core that they were going to invest in. So that was a necessity. And at a certain point, I was very much like, let's get this deal done. But as far as the offseason moves and KCP is concerned, obviously a big swing and a miss in hindsight. I do remember a lot of fans being like, look, when we re-signed everybody to team-friendly deals and got KCP, felt like it was potentially a move that with the progression of some of those young players would be enough to get this team into the second round or, like Paolo said prior to the season starting, into the conference finals. Right now, this team is just simply not built for that because a team like the Cavs, as we've seen, has been able to make just calculated moves and kept that core together, and they have progressed. But they did also have a coaching change in the offseason, so maybe that is something that is to come for the Magic. I don't think so. I still think Mosley's got at least another year of leash going forward. I don't think they'll be making a move like that. Let's take a look at the box score for Cleveland right quick here. Obviously, they all around played pretty well, and at a certain point, nobody above 30 minutes, this game was way past over, so you're not going to see any crazy numbers. It's kind of unfortunate when Donovan Mitchell has like a night where statistically he's not destroying you, where everybody else plays super well. And as we can see, when you shoot under 20% from the three-point line and the other team shoots almost 60%, you're going to lose that game. So just unfortunate on all ends. I mean, these teams are completely different than what they were prior to the season starting. It feels like when we were assessing it based off of last year's playoff series, and that's that's just the nature of the game. One team really improved. The Cavs are very good. Both things can be true. And then the Magic are unfortunately just completely handicapped by the lack of shooting. They are one of the worst shooting teams of the last 15 to 20 years in NBA basketball, and it's showing, and it's unfortunate. Okay, so what's going on moving forward? Because obviously this game was a couple days ago, and there has to be some sort of bounce back. We felt like we had a good bounce back when we came into the All-Star break, or out of the All-Star break, and we were able to get a win, but that momentum seems to have really halted. What is going forward? Well, there was a ton of great sound bites. I mean, great as in, from the news perspective, bad for Orlando Magic fans after this game. Jamahl Mosley said in response to what exactly is going on, what do you need to work on? He said, there's a lot of things you can look at, and I'm not going to jump and overreact, but I know that the way in which you get back to playing your brand of basketball is you get to work. Now, a lot of coaches speak with that, but I think it's telling just based off of the way that he looks at that question and presents his answer that, look, they're going to ride this thing out. They're going to continuously invest in their defense and in what they are good at. And they are going to pray to God that hopefully by the time they get to the play-in or into that first round series, that the shooting can wake up. Now, it seems like completely backwards thinking because usually shooting takes a little bit of a nosedive in the playoffs. Things get tougher, refs swallow the whistle, and offense is a lot tougher to come by. But maybe, if they can get themselves in a good position against a decent matchup, they're thinking that they can invest in what they already have and in the culture. And if they're healthy, they can win some games and potentially fulfill the prophecy of what this season was supposed to mean. Now, I'm not buying it too much. I do think that this looks like a first-round exit. This is a team that could potentially get caught in the play-in and have a really disappointing finish to the year. That's what this team is playing like right now. But is that other scenario a possibility? Well, it's a non-zero chance, so I'll give him that. There was a lot of other interesting sound bites. Obviously, Paolo Banchero mentioned some stuff prior or after the game, and he was just talking about the loss and everything. And he said, you could say it's because we shot 18% from three, but I could say there's 3 or 4 other things why we lost as well. And, and when in response to what were those other things, he said everything. We just weren't sharp at all. And when you have a 40-point loss, look, I get it. You're not going to exactly be riding home just about one specific thing. It's not just one specific thing, no matter how drastic the difference is for your shooting. But that's super tough to hear from the franchise player. And there's been a little bit of talks about whether or not he's going to resign. I don't think that that's on the table right now. But hopefully this season doesn't flame out to the point where people think that that is even remotely a question. Now, there was a huge other piece of news from this game. One, that Jalen Suggs still looks like he's not even close to playing. And unfortunately, I don't know if this is a season-ending injury or not, but we're starting to really not get as many answers as we'd like, and he's not playing. But add Cole Anthony, who hyperextended his knee, I believe, right? His left knee against the Cavs, and he said after the game, I've definitely been better. Would have preferred not to hurt my knee tonight, but that's life. Stuff happens. I don't think he'll play tonight against the Golden State Warriors. I don't see exactly why you would just throw him out there. This season doesn't seem to be we're not in a situation where this season has so much on this one specific game. I know that sounds a little bit counterintuitive considering that we are in the midst of a playoff hunt and a playoff race, play-in race. But you don't want to trot Cole Anthony out there if he's not ready, especially in the game immediately after he hyperextends his knee. But that is another thing to watch. Can a guy like Anthony Black step up? Tristan Da Silva, we've seen it at times this year. We're going to need it now. And Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are going to ride them till the wheels fall off because this team has a lot of issues. Now, I wanted to end this video off just a little bit just saying, look, I want to be more consistent on this channel, and I'm very curious as to what you guys think about Jeff Weltman, because he had a little bit of a moment when he was up in the press box looking like a deer in the headlights, like, dang, this team was not constructed properly. Unfortunately, you live and die by the culture, and this team cannot shoot. And maybe there should have been a deal at the deadline. I was pushing for it because I felt like the sample size was big enough, despite all of the injuries, to say, this is our problem. This is why we're going to lose in the playoffs. Let's try to change it right now. Let's make a move. Now, do you guys think that he could get fired? I'm teetering on it. I think that they still will have one more year because I've seen in the comment section below where you guys have said, look, We're still a year ahead. There still wasn't a ton riding on this season. It was supposed to be playing with house money. I'm 50-50 on it. I have to look more into it to actually where this team would go from there. But I definitely think that a change could potentially happen a lot sooner than we thought because of the way this team is flaming out right now. Very interesting stuff. Unfortunate news, of course, but that's the kind of season that it's been. It's been up and down. Got a chance to get a good win against Golden State tonight, hosting them on a homestand right now. This should be a great chance for that to reestablish the team. And, this team has showed so much grit. So tonight, a win is totally not out of the cards, but they're playing really good basketball right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. But guys, let me know what you think about Weltman, what you think about the organization as a whole. Always very interested in hearing what you guys have to say. But until next time, I will see you guys with more Orlando Magic basketball content.